What's going on, everybody? It's Monkeyfarm. We're playing Satisfactory today, and the conveyor lift has been released in the experimental build. I believe it's going to be in the official build in the next coming update, I think in the next week or so. But this allows you to elevate or descend items directly straight up or down. So this should help us move our items around a lot more cleanly. And what we're going to do today is we're going to make an array of these and see how many items we can convey, like how many conveyor belts we can compactly elevate using a ton of these in this little 2x2 area. The reason I'm doing that 2x2 area is because you might have seen one of my previous videos. I had done this 16 item elevator where I elevated 16 items in a 2x2 area. You can actually do 24, but it gets really messy on the inside with spaghetti conveyor belts and everything. So I did 16, but we're going to see if we can beat that number and just check out the conveyor belts. So let's show you how they work real quick before we get started. So you can find it in the logistics right under the normal conveyor belts, and they have the different levels for speed differences as well and all that. So the way you place them, obviously, you rotate to say where you want the input to be, then you click once, and then you can elevate up or down and use your mouse wheel to rotate to tell it where you want the output to be, and then it will go up to 13 wall height is the maximum height that one of these will go. And the other thing you need to know is you need to place the beginning where you want the input. Because it only goes one direction, not the band. It goes just one direction where the input is where you start. Otherwise, you can't put items in that direction. They won't come out here. It only goes one way. All right, so there's a little trick on how you can really pack these things in together. So I'm going to place one of these right here, and you would think you could just place these, but they kind of stick to each other, or you have to move them away from each other, and that actually spaces them out a little bit further than you need to. So if you take a conveyor pole, stackable, and move, whoops, that was a little save. If you move it 4 blocks from the front of the other conveyor lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can place the other one pointed the same direction. And that points at this little thing, thinking there's a conveyor belt pointed into it. And then you can raise this up. The other thing you have to look out for is if you want to send the items back the exact same direction they came from, you need to lower this 2 blocks below the other one, or two spaces below the other one. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the conveyor belt across. It'll be blocked by this. You could do it where you incline the conveyor belt, but if you want it straight across, you need to lower it 2 spaces. All right, so the best way to stack this as closely together and as many as possible all in the same area, what you need to do is have the output going the same direction. So don't point it back where the conveyor belt came from. You're going to have to point it the same direction. So it's going to go, the conveyor belt is going to start over here. Whoops. It's going to go in there, and then it's going to exit on this side, still going the same direction that way. You can't point it the other way, and I'll show you why in a second. So let's put our conveyor belt pole, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to put this right here, and then put that 2 blocks above. I think that's 2. The reason you can't point it back this way is because if you have several rows of this, you'll have to have this top end lower than that output, and basically over here you'll end up with a really short conveyor pole, or that's never mind that joke. You'll end up with a short conveyor lift because you'll have to start at a higher spot and you'll have to end at a lower spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to stack them like this all across this entire 2x2 and see how many we can fit in. I believe it's 25 because we can fit 5 across and 5 deep. Alright, I've got the back row set up, so now I'm going to place some more conveyor poles here. And basically all you do, you place them right next to each other, just make sure they don't overlap. So as long as they're spaced out, you'll see that they line up with all the other conveyor poles. Now we can easily place all of our our conveyor lifts. We can place all these lifts very easily. And I'm just trying to keep the sun glare out of your eyes so that you can actually see everything going on here. There we go. We'll block the sun. Alright, so now what we do is count 4 spaces from these conveyor lifts. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure that lines up. So the difference is you have to build these 2 high instead of 1. So for each row you want to have, you want to just make it 1 conveyor pole higher. And then over here, just keep the spacing two spaces higher from the previous belt, or the previous lift. Alright, so I hooked up a conveyor belt to all the outputs, and I hooked up a conveyor belt with a bunch of concrete going into all of these 5. Oh, there you go. We can see all the items going up. Very cool. And now they're going across the top. Alright, I sped it up. I put a couple of fast conveyor belts, and these are already filling up. I might die here, so hold on a sec. But yeah, you can see all the items going up. Alright, so I guess the real trick is actually, how do you keep all the conveyor belts that are going into all of these? How do you keep those organized? Because this is pretty nice. Nice and sleek. All the belts and everything are separate and nice and organized and everything. It's just what a mess all this stuff in front of it is. But anyway, I'm sure you guys can figure that out. But I hope you liked the video, and thumb it up if you did. And by the way, make sure you're following my Twitch channel as well as the YouTube, because I stream Satisfactory over there usually on Sundays. So come and hang out and check it out too. Alright, that is going to be it. We'll see you later.